We start today with the continued chaos in the Republican Party. Still no Speaker of the House after yet another vote. Jim Jordan has lost, and reports of other Republican members of the House coming to his office and saying, "It's not going to be you, Jim. It's simply not going to be you." Remember that this all started when a small number, 8 members of the Republican Party, which is in the majority in the House of Representatives, decided they didn't want Kevin McCarthy as Speaker anymore. They joined Democrats in a vote to remove him. Since then, there have been a number of different directions that this path has taken. One was the direction of Steve Scalise, although Scalise then ultimately said, "I'm removing myself for consideration." Then Jim Jordan came to the forefront, never a guy to shy away from the possibility of more access to power and more media appearances. And a first vote and a second vote and a third vote saw Republicans reject Jim Jordan each time by more votes. He actually got further from being made Speaker of the House with each vote. On the Democratic side, Democrats are extraordinarily united. They want Democrat Hakeem Jeffries to be Speaker of the House. I think he would be a great choice, very much the sort of Democrat that is striking the right tone when it comes to how these outrageous radical Republicans who abandon policy completely should be dealt with. Of course, Democrats are in the minority. So unless somehow Republicans get involved in helping Hakeem Jeffries, he also won't be the Speaker of the House. So where are we now in a new week? Well, where we are, as Axios reports, is that there are now 9 people running for Speaker of the House for the Republicans. Those 9 members are Tom Emmer, Mike Johnson, Kevin Hern, Byron Donalds, Pete Sessions, Jack Bergman, Austin Scott, Daniel Muser, and Gary Palmer. Of these, I think I would say the most well-known ones are Tom Emmer, Byron Donalds, and Pete Sessions. Donalds has been a very public supporter of Trump and has very proudly and defiantly, bravely made a fool out of himself at a number of different congressional hearings. Pete Sessions has just been around a long time, so he's relatively well known. And then Tom Emmer has been making a number of not particularly positive media appearances recently. Candidates. So what is going to happen now? There is now going to be a process today. It may be going on right now as today's episode is released, where these 9 individuals are going to get 2-minute speeches followed by a 90-minute Q&A and then 1-minute closing speeches, according to someone familiar with how Republicans are going to handle this. In the previous forums, each candidate got 30 minutes to lay out their case. A senior Republican lawmaker said to Axios, this is interesting, "I think there's obviously 2 tiers of candidates. I'm sure everybody will say the same thing. It seems to me it's Emmer, Johnson, Hur, Donald's race till the end. I'm not really sure who has a leg up on any of that because everybody's got different factions and issues, so we will see." There are people skeptical of the Republican conference's ability to unify behind the next nominee, which is, of course, what they need to do. When you have 9 people and somebody needs to get 217 votes, it's a real problem if you have this number of people splitting the vote. So a number of different takeaways here. First and foremost, there are lots of Republican voters who could not care less about this. Why don't they care? Number one, they think when government doesn't do stuff, it's good. So the fact that the House of Representatives is all but shut down when it comes to the normal sorts of work that they would do, for a lot of right wingers, that's not a problem. They want to eliminate tasks for government. They want government doing as little as possible. It's part of their worldview. It's part of their ideology. So they're not particularly concerned. Number two, it reminds us of the contrast, which we're going to see the other side of the contrast in a moment, which is fascinating on the Joe Biden side. It reminds us of the notable contrast right now between the unity and pragmatic victories on the Democratic side under Joe Biden and with a united Democratic Party, and on the other side, a Republican Party that's about to nominate a guy who's been indicted 4 times to be their presidential nominee, who kicked out their own speaker and have now spent 3+ weeks figuring out who's going to replace that speaker. And to be honest, It's not looking like they're that close to doing it. And also some of the people that have garnered votes, like Jim Jordan, should be kicked out of the House of Representatives, never mind being made Speaker of the House. So the contrast could not be more clear. And thirdly, really another loss for the MAGA movement, in the sense that, yes, the MAGA movement managed to kick out Kevin McCarthy, a guy they never particularly liked from the beginning because he was not as overtly crazy as they are, mildly willing to work with Democrats on uncontroversial things. He had to get punished for that. They kicked him out. But now, particularly with Trump's strong endorsement of Jim Jordan, even saying after the first failed vote for Jordan, I believe he will soon be Speaker of the House, and then he failed a second vote, and then he failed a third vote, and now he's no longer in the running. It is also a reminder that while these 8 members of the House were able to get McCarthy out, they are not strong enough to get the entire party unified behind anybody. And even Trump's full-throated endorsement multiple times is not enough to get Jim Jordan the speakership. So on the one hand, it seems as though Republican elected officials are increasingly indifferent to what Donald Trump wants. On the other hand, Trump has as much support from the Republican electorate as he has ever had in this primary, approaching 60%. We'll get to that later in the show. A divide between Republican elected officials and Republican voters, which we will talk about again a little bit later in the show. If you or a parent are starting to lose your hearing, you're not alone. About 48 million Americans have some hearing loss, and only about 20% of those who would benefit from a hearing aid actually use one. Our sponsor, MD Hearing, makes FDA-registered rechargeable hearing aids that cost just a fraction of what typical hearing aids cost. MD Hearing's new Neo model costs less than 10% what you'll pay for traditional marked up hearing aids. I have a close family friend who's been using MD Hearing for a long time now. I ran into her the other day, having a great experience with MD Hearing. She loves how MD Hearing has audiologists on staff to help her calibrate the device. She says it works better than anything she's ever used. MD Hearing was founded by an ENT surgeon who saw that many of his patients needed hearing aids, could not afford them. And so his mission was to develop a quality hearing aid that anyone could afford. MD Hearing offers a 45-day risk-free trial with a 100% money-back guarantee. You can buy with confidence. And if you're still on the fence about MD Hearing, they were just selected to be the hearing aid supplier for top Medicare Advantage plans. It's just a brand you can trust. Go to mdhearing.com and use the code PACMAN to get a pair for just $297. The link is down below.